It would seem like an easy decision for a parent, giving a deaf child a chance to hear for the first time. Doctors are now doing it all the time with a device that is far from perfect and highly controversial. But if it works, it can change a child's life. This is the story of one family as it struggled with a child's disability and a plan to give her a life with sound. Here's Sarah James.
Ready? Now push. Here we go. Wow.
7 years ago, Paul and Kathy Vitello had their third child, Leah. As she grew, Leah loved to follow her older siblings everywhere and mimic their every move.
Happy birthday, dear Leah.
But by the time she was 1 year old, Paul and Kathy noticed that there was one thing she didn't imitate: speech.
We noticed she was reacting more to motion than to sound. We had inklings, that something might be wrong.
And there was. Leah was deaf.
It was just kind of a shock. We didn't expect it. And she was still the same Leah, She's still happy and laughing and didn't know what was going on. And I just remember just sitting there crying, like in the parking lot for like a half hour. And then that was it. That was the only time that we cried for her.
The Vitellos, determined to give Leah as normal a life as possible, gave her a hearing aid.
Barney.
Speech therapy.
Little Barney, boo, boo.
And special schooling. But Paul and Kathy wanted more for their daughter.
They were really very interested.
They turned to Dr. Susan Waltzman, a hearing specialist at NYU Bellevue Medical Center.
The internal magnet hooks up to the external magnet.
They discussed a cochlear implant, a controversial device that may enable a person who is deaf to hear.
If a parent brings a very young child in, I think we can realistically say right now the child will have much greater access to sound than he will with the hearing aid.
The device is made up of electrodes that transmit sound through a computer transmitter and into the cochlea, the inner ear. The coil and electrodes are inserted underneath the skin behind the ear. An external transmitter is worn in a small pouch, like a Walkman.
If they have the surgery at a very young age, they can take advantage of those natural language learning years.
Bed.
Ice cream cone.
When we met Leah and her parents nearly 4 years ago, she began the extensive screening process to test whether she could hear and respond to certain frequencies and pitches. Leah's results were good, but what would seem like a simple decision to have the implant was far more complicated. Use of the device is surrounded by an emotional debate. Many in the deaf community ardently oppose cochlear implants, especially for very young children.
And many parents seem to feel that there is, in fact, a cure for deafness with cochlear implants. And, in fact, they're not a cure.
Dr. Barbara Brower is chairperson of the Mental Health Committee of the National Association of the Deaf. She believes parents ought to be cautious about using cochlear implants. She thinks there may be emotional consequences. Children may feel isolated from both the hearing world and the deaf world.
I would try to help the parent accept that their child is different. And there's nothing wrong with being different.
Why couldn't she have the chance to hear it? Like songs, birds, trucks going by, horns beeping. Why can't she hear that?
And so, after careful consideration, the Vitellos chose to go forward with the operation. The procedure requires precise surgery. The area of insertion is so tiny that Dr. Noel Cohen must use a microscope to perform the surgery. After 1 month of healing, Leah was about to leave her world of silence for the first time in her life.
I'm just going to go up slowly, okay?
We basically tell the parents not to expect too much on those first few days.
Here we go.
We were there as the Vitellos watched and waited, holding their emotions in check, unsure what to expect. Leah was instructed to do certain tasks, like this puzzle, if she detected a sound.
Now she should hear it.
At first, it was hard to tell if she heard anything at all.
40, 50.
Then, finally,
Right about now.
Good job. That was great.
Leah could hear. Now she had to learn how to
So we're
listen.
going to raise it very slowly. And
The volume levels were adjusted so that the sounds were neither too loud nor too soft.
Okay. Okay. She told me to stop, which is incredible.
Some people say the speech sounds like computer speech. Other people say that to them, after a while, it sounds pretty normal. With the children, it's very hard to know, especially the children born deaf, since they've never heard before.
With each passing month, Leah learns new sounds that eventually will become words.
What is that? Oh, yeah? Bobby,
What?
you have the apple.
How are you?
Now, almost 3.5 years after Leah got her cochlear implant, she's attending regular elementary school. And she's even teaching her baby brother a thing or two, like how to count
Uno,
in
dos,
Spanish.
tres, cuatro, cinco.
The cochlear implant also works well for adults who lost the ability to hear later in life. And there is a new device undergoing clinical trials right now, the auditory brainstem implant. It's placed inside the skull next to the brainstem, and doctors hope it will bring hearing to those who can't be helped by the cochlear implant.